Hello again from Sprott Money, sprottmoney.com. It is the end of the month of August. We're about to ready to wrap up summer. U.S. getting ready for a 3-day market holiday weekend. I can't believe that the year is 2/3 over, but it is. It is time for your regular monthly feature, the monthly wrap up. I'm your host, Craig Hemke, and joining us this month is our old friend and the guy with the name on the company, Eric Sprott himself. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Craig, I'm so happy to be here and good to see you looking well, too.
Well, gosh, it's nice to see you, my friend. And hey, I don't want to mess this up because this is pretty important. So I'm actually going to put on my glasses. I always remind people when this stuff gets started, this, doesn't just appear for free. This is brought to you by Sprott Money and sprottmoney.com. So you want to thank them for all that they do in making this stuff possible. Here's the thing you can do, though. They're giving away silver. Eric, did you authorize this?
They don't ask me things like that. They just do it.
They just do it? Okay. Well,
it's my silver after all.
Well, that's true. Well, Sprott Money has new, they're called Eternal Sun rounds. They're really cool. And they want to give some away. So here's what you do. You got to go to Instagram. If you're on social media, go to Instagram. Follow Sprott Money. I mean, that takes a whopping total of 5 seconds. You like the post that says, we're giving away some of these Eternal Sun rounds. And then you tag a friend in the comment section. So there's 3 steps. Follow on Instagram, like the post, and tag a friend. If you do that, you will be included in the drawing, give away some of these free rounds. How can you beat that? So anyway, there are going to be 5 winners. So you got a real shot at getting some free silver. And again, always great to check Sprott Money. They've got some great 1 ounce and 5 ounce, 10 ounce bars from First Majestic. They will ship them to you free and with insurance if you buy more than $500. Sprottmoney.com or 888-861-0775. Okay, Eric, where do we start? The last time we spoke was back, I think it was the end of April. And, gold had, and silver too, had rallied to begin the year, even though the dollar was going up and rates had been going up. Rate cut expectations were coming down. Now we've just finally begun to break out to new all-time highs in gold. Eric, what I don't understand is the frustration I'm feeling. And I know many other investors feel the same. I mean, gold's at all-time highs. It's like this weird dichotomy in my head. Do you have any thoughts? Do you feel this way too?
Well, it's funny. As I mentioned, I was going to talk about frustration because when I think back to my gold career, which probably starts in the year 2000, when I first started buying gold and silver and the stocks. And I've had some wonderful wins. And I'll speak to one in particular because we would have talked about it many, many, many times. It was Kirkland Gold. And I thought back to myself, okay, 25 years of good times. Why do I always feel so damn frustrated all the time, including today when it's hitting an all-time high? Okay.
Right.
And I put it down to, you have this foresight of what should happen, but it happens glacially. And it ultimately gets there. Gold did go through 2000. They went through 2,500. Silver broke 30. Hasn't gone to 50 yet, but hopefully it will. But it's the frustration that you think all these things should have happened, but it's glacial. And it takes a long time for the world to catch up with those of us who believe this for a long time.
Yeah.
And I do think about Kirkland Lake that, I could have seen, probably 7 years before it hit its high, exactly what they would earn 7 years out, because you have this ore body, it's going to get developed, you know what they're going to produce, you know what they should make, because you have a price assumption. And it took a long, long time for people to go there. And in fact, I would even say this about the people who really didn't go there. I mean, I was the chairman of Kirkland Lake. I saw what employees purchased the shares. I think there was 2 employees purchased the shares, even though I might have been on your program and recommended it every damn week. Yeah. So there's a certain level of frustration there, and I'm going to talk more to that when I talk about a couple of stocks later on. But I think that's something that we all have to go through because we see the problems. As you and I spoke before this session started, I mean, the problems that we all see manifested every day. And who's dealing with it? I could go to the budget deficit. I could go to the positions of the various people running for government and say, well, we're going to tax unrealized capital gains. And oh my goodness, the sense of frustration you have that people see through the lunacy of that type of situation, or we're going to control prices. It's never happened in the history of mankind in anyone control it unless you're in a slavery situation. So all of these things are always frustrating. And even when I talk about the prices of the metals, and perhaps today is not the day that I wouldn't say I'm frustrated on gold, because it is hitting a new high. Okay, maybe I'll be frustrated if when I finish the day off and I find out that the gold stocks were up like 0.1 of 1%. You know, it's just okay. How come there's no follow through here when there should be? We'll just see what happens when we get there. But I would say the most, for example, today for me, the thing that I find frustrating the most on a macro picture is the lack of performance of silver.
Yeah.
And you know that there's already this physical shortage every year. What last year's 215 million ounces in a billion ounce market. And no, in fact, the mining market's about 800 million.
Yeah.
The billion is some recycling going on in there. Okay. So to have a 20% shortage and somehow not manifest itself in the real world is really quite shocking. And then even if you took ourselves back a couple of months and looked at where photovoltaics were going to go, you think, oh my God, now it could be 300 or 400 million shortage this year. Or the imports that India has, the imports that China has, like, oh my God, how can this thing stay here? And then more recently, of course, we have this Samsung announcement that they have this solid state battery that features silver, that consumes 20 ounces of silver for every car that's produced. And of course, it can take a car 50% longer, and the recharging time is like 9 minutes. I mean, it probably takes 5 minutes to put gas in your car.
Yeah.
You know, like what's 9 minutes if you can get 900 kilometers or 600 miles? So I think it's a tremendous development, and it's going to affect more than cars. Obviously, anything that needs any electricity whatsoever, they will use that battery if it's as good as what they say it is. And it looks like they produced them already. They've shipped them off to some of the car companies to experiment with. And the logic of it seems is really obvious. And and by the way, the estimates are that they'd need 500 million ounces a year. We mine 800. Where are we going to get another 500 from? We're already 200 short.
Right.
Like, it's just like, oh man, trying to fit something through this little keyhole is ridiculous. You'd think it would go up. Now, having said all of that, and of course, let's get back to the frustration level. So you got to sit there and watch the silver trade on the COMEX.
Right.
And you realize these banks are short 500 million ounces of silver. 500 million.
Right.
Which I don't think they can possibly buy back, because somebody's got to sell it to them. And we already don't have enough sellers. So how the hell are they going to buy it back?
Yeah.
They're not going to buy it back. So fine, they just got to play this game of wash, rinse, repeat, and knock the price down, and then they got to let it go back up again. All the while, even in this decline in silver from 32.50 to 26.50, they hardly covered any shorts. I was shocked.
Right.
None. What'd you do this for? Well, now I know what they do it for. They do it to get off their call options, and both in stocks and in the SLV and things like that. They always, of course, have the price where max pain, i.e., most of your customers lose the money. That's where we got to get the price to, right? And so that's still operative, but I can guarantee they're not getting off the shorts. Okay, and I don't think they'll ever get off the shorts, which is worrisome. Because someday they may just shut the sucker down, right?
Yeah.
And you know what they did on nickel, they just cancel a bunch of trades. Oh well, the silver was never there anyway, so we're going to move on here. Okay,
right.
We'll let Kamala solve it.
And you touched on it. I think it's probably silver that's a reflection that is most driving the frustration, because even if you just go back to May, gold's at all-time high. Silver's not even back to where it was in May.
No.
Do you think, Eric, is it I mean, obviously the commercial shorts, I've been talking a lot about how, copper's kind of in the middle, and gold's up, but copper's down 20%, so silver's down 10.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to get silver to kind of be its own thing, to get investors more into the sector to drive the price higher?
Well, I think there's money coming back into the ETFs there. Okay.
Okay.
And I honestly think the banks were using the ETFs to solve some of their delivery problems.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. They'd buy the shares and redeem them.
Yes.
And get the physical silver, which let them cover off some of their obligations.
Yep.
I think that game might be ending because I think the money is starting to. People realize that the precious metals are in a bull market. I think they do. And even if the people don't, luckily the computers do. AI does. You don't need people to understand it. You just need to have the people told that it's working. Buy a computer. What should I have bought in the last 6? Well, you should have bought gold stocks or gold or silver. Where have you been, you idiot? Come on. Every day, the thing goes up almost every day. Where, get on the game. And of course, there's been lots of great work done on how undervalued the gold and silver shares are, particularly the gold shares, because the price is $2,500 here.
Yeah.
I mean, to think, that we might have imagined the price is $1,500 and they get an extra $1,000. I mean, everybody's profits have got to have tripled.
Right.
Well, I think we're 37% off the low. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be all sorts of room. And I will talk about that with one of the stocks I want to feature today and what the price going to 2,500 does to people. In fact, I'll even point this out. Like one of the things I look forward to now, when someone says they have an ore body on care and maintenance, I think, ooh, baby, you got something on care and maintenance, do you? You have to just flick a switch.
Yeah, right.
Because you're probably going to do it at $2,500 gold. Because when that decision was made, it was probably $1,500 gold. But it's up $1,000. It's got to be profitable, you'd think. So I think there's lots of opportunities out there for producers. It will be for explorers, or will be for developers. And I will talk to some of those specifically later on.
Well, let's address opportunity, because again, you and I have been talking about this for decades, but with that kind of frustration, that the price obviously should be higher than it is, particularly in silver, and the mining shares having not really reflected that yet because there's this whole sector so overlooked. I mean, that you can't help but look at that as a sizable opportunity to get involved, even if you've never been in the sector before.
Right. I'm going to lay out a couple of those opportunities, things that I think about today that I think are just screaming at me, man, this could go up so much. And when I'm looking at an opportunity, I'm looking at something that goes up hundreds of percents.
Right.
I'm not looking for 100. I'm looking for 500, 1,000%. And I'm going to try to give some examples of that. And to me, the most stunning one is this Free Gold Ventures, where their last 43-101, they said that 20 million ounces of gold up in Alaska, 5 miles from Fort Knox, which Kinross operates, that has a mill there. You can drive to the property. I drove there 3 weeks ago. Like it's so perfectly placed, it's ridiculous. Okay, you got a workforce, then it's near Fairbanks. You couldn't ask for a better situation. Okay, and they're drilling, and they've announced some of their drilling results this year. And one of the individual groups that follows this stock does what's called napkin math on what he thinks they now have. Okay, and his number was now that he thinks they're 25 million ounces. Okay, Jeez. And they got lots of holes to release yet. And it's my feeling that they could very easily get to 30 million ounces by the end of this year. Okay. Now, what's the stock trade for? It trades for under 300 million US, the whole company, right? Under 300 million. So you have to pay all of $10 an ounce for silver, for gold in the ground. 10. It trades at 2,500. And I saw an article recently where some guy was arguing that, if you can buy gold in the ground for $200, you're stealing it because it should be way more than that. Like if this guy can produce for 1,500 and trades at 25, he's going to make $1,000 an ounce. Wouldn't you pay more than $10 to make 1,000? Like a lot more. Anyway, so it's my view that, could this go to $100 an ounce? Yeah, layup. That's 1,000% higher from
Yeah.
here. 1,000%. And maybe go to 2,000%. And maybe the price of gold goes to 3,000 or 3,500, and it goes up even more. And this stock used to, I think the high on it, oh my God, I think actually I looked at it, it might have been like $15 or $16 like 20 years ago or something. And I can see, yeah, I can see how it could get there, right? I mean, it's just pure math in my mind. And it's high enough quality or grade to be very open pitable. And they keep finding higher grade ore. Okay, so that's my story on Free Gold Ventures and gold in the ground. Okay, and I'm sure there's lots of other ones. I could probably mention Tudor, Teuton, and Chesapeake, Discovery. I know you wanted me to talk about Discovery Silver, and I will. Discovery Silver with their whatever 180 million ounce or 500 million ounce. I forget what it is now, but unfortunately, it's in Mexico. And, with this talk about not allowing open pit mines again, then of course the stock's just cratered. But the fact is that you can probably buy those ounces, an ounce of silver for maybe 50 cents. And the silver is trading at $30 on its way to 50. So, now we do have to solve the problem in Mexico of no open pit mining. That hasn't been officially adjudicated yet, but there's rumblings of that. But if they come to their senses and decide that they will allow it, and of course, even when you allow open pit mining, the rules that the companies have to abide by are your rules. You're the government are making the rules as to what you have to do to make this safe. So surely the government can find a way to make it safe. And having been involved with many companies, I mean, the restrictions and the things you got to do to make sure that bad things don't happen. And unfortunately, sometimes bad things do happen, as we saw with Victoria Gold here, with the leach pad fell. It's just devastating what happened there. But it's like all industries, things can happen to you, right?
And you remind me of like Cobre Panama down in Panama.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
There's a bunch of buffoons running the government to shut the thing down.
Yeah,
like, well, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, so we can't rule. You never know how these buffoonish politicians are going to act.
More reasons for frustration.
Right. Well, all right. So just to kind of shift back to opportunity, you see this, I see this. I mean, probably everybody listening to us sees this. You've been in enough those cycles, of growth into value, and all the other things that the very large investors take into consideration when they're going to move some money around. What is it going to take at this point to get, I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about more buyers than sellers in our sector. I mean, I thought maybe that deal between Goldfields and Osisko that might get things going just because it was all cash. It wasn't like a share swap deals. It's just cash. And you made basically 50% overnight. So I thought, well, maybe that'll get some people, picking around. But in your experience, what is the driving factor in that shift and to get people desirous of actually putting some money in the sector?
Well, I think it is very important. And I use it, for example, when I'm talking about free gold, because Goldfields paid $400 an ounce for the gold in the ground. 400, not 10, 400. It's sort of me. Well, why would you stop at 100, Eric, when some guy just paid 400? And the price of gold might keep going. In fact, it's hitting a record high as we're talking about it right now. That sort of thing, right? Yeah. We still have all that upside in front of us. We still have all the world chaos in front of us, right? That would suggest you should be in gold. So I think that kind of transaction has helped a lot here. Like I see stocks moving now, okay? Yeah. And the free gold's gone from like 40 cents to like 79 today. But it's still $10 an ounce, okay? Yeah. Like it obviously was $5 an ounce 3 or 4 months ago. But I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about Jaguar Mining. It's gone from $1.60 to hit a high of 5. It's at $4.50 today. This is all in the last 6 months or so, a lot of it in the last 3 months. And what is going on there? So they announced that they had a high grade discovery in an existing mine where the grade is almost twice as much as the existing grade that they're mining. Okay. Well, guys, look, instead of mining that, let's mine this over here. Okay. We'll get twice as much gold for the same cost, right? Just go mine over there. Don't mine here, right beside it. Go mine over there. When you take that ton of ore out, you'll get twice as much gold, which means the extra gold is free. It reminds me a little bit of Fosterville, when the grade goes up and the increasing grade is all profit, right?
Yeah.
You get the same guys working there all the time, right? Just, oh, this stuff's better than that stuff. Well, let's do this stuff. And I get the feeling that the Jaguar, who today produces around 70 odd thousand ounces annually, can by 26, and some people might think 26 is a long way off, but I don't think it's that far, quite frankly. I think they could easily double that, easily produce 140,000 ounces. Okay. And just imagine that they're making $1,000 an ounce, 140 million US. It's almost 200 million Canadian. The market cap today is about 400. So it's trading at 2 times pre-tax earnings, right? So, could it go to 10 times pre-tax earnings? Yeah, it could. Sure. Well, there's a 5-bagger. It's already up 2 bags. So that's 5 from here, 2 times 5. That would have been a 10-bagger from where I first got it, 10.
Right.
That's what we're looking for, 10 baggers. And what if the price of gold goes higher? Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. So
and the odds are it should. It's at new record high ground as we speak.
Is it a value versus growth thing? I mean, are these stocks perceived as value and everybody just wants growth and Nvidia and
let me put it as there's no perception. No one's looking.
Yeah, that's true. You got to
nobody. Are you kidding me? Nobody's looking. I know that.
Good point.
Nobody looks at the press releases. Nobody looks at the corporate presentations. Nobody adds things together. Nobody has any. Oh well, hold it now. If those guys bring this up, that could produce an extra 30,000 ounces for free. Oh, geez, that's $75 million US free. Whoa. Yeah.
How do we get them to look?
That's when the market cap was about 75 US. It's about 100 Canadian. That's when, you could have done that calculation when the market cap was about 110 million.
Yeah.
So you'd have to just dig in a little and keep your ears open to things. And that company, Jaguar, they have mines on care and maintenance, which maybe somebody will flick the switch.
Yeah.
And bring it. And they got mills on care and maintenance. Imagine having a mill, the mine, the permits, everything's right there. Some guy has to say, let's go. Yeah. Boom, shakalaka.
Yeah.
Get you some other 20, 30,000 ounces.
Yeah.
At incredible costs. Okay. So I've talked about Jaguar, and I talk about Jaguar because it's a producer. And there's probably lots of other producers that have not yet reacted properly to the fact that they produce this much gold. And the price is this, start believing it, because it's probably going higher. Like, it's easy to say it should be at 2,500 where it is. And because I think that, for example, I was going to talk about Michael Oliver, who you've interviewed many times.
Yeah.
And I love his work. Okay.
Great.
And Michael's doesn't mess around here. He's a big picture guy.
Yep.
And he's sitting there thinking, gold, when it rallies, goes up by 800% from the bottom to the top. Did it in 2000 to 2011, did it in 11 to 2016. Then it bottomed in 2016 at 1,050. And if it goes up 8 times, we'd be at $8,000. It's easy to imagine, okay? 8 times, just like it did before. And the stocks all went up 1,400% from 2000 to 2011, 1,400. Not the stock market. Gold stocks. That's what your opportunity is here. So he has, and he of course has huge targets on silver in the hundreds of dollars. So I'm a great, it's all, to me, it's all right there for silver. I mean, how the hell we're going to get through this thing without having some kind of massive short squeeze? I have no idea, but it's coming. But and of course, it's going to be the source of frustration for me every day for a while. We have everything in place here. Okay, giddy up, go. Anyway.
What in terms of the macro and price, it is remarkable that gold has moved up so much while, in that first 6 months of the year, rates were going higher and the dollar was going higher and rate cut expectations were getting trimmed. And now it's moving higher again that we're starting to talk about rate cuts. Are you optimistic, for strong prices into year end?
Well, of course, the dollar's been weak, and the dollar's been weak because I think the world realizes we have a debt problem in the United States and a spending problem in the United States. We don't even recognize, 200 trillion of unrecognized liabilities, Social Security and Medicare. Like, come on.
Inconvenient.
Like I've always said ever since 2000, that in my mind, the US was broke, has been broke because of all these unfunded obligations. And no one ever talks about it. No one ever deals with it.
Right.
Well, someday you're going to have to deal with it, right? And there's going to be some big surprise to a lot of people who maybe won't get their Social Security or they won't get the health care they're looking for. I mean, we do have a problem in the healthcare business where, a lot of people, they have an emergency, they go to the hospital, and the hospital knows they can't pay the bill, right?
Right.
Not what they want to charge them per day.
Right.
And of course, they got to charge them that per day because the doctor says, I need my pound of flesh. The pharmacy says, I need my pound of flesh. The guy supplying everything to the hospital, he needs his pound of flesh. The hospital tries to get a pound of flesh, but they have a tough time collecting.
That's a lot
from
of flesh.
The guy in the flesh.
That's a lot of flesh.
Anyway, it's a problem. I read about hospitals closing in the US all the time now.
Yeah.
Little local clinics because they just can't deal with it.
Yeah, they can't make the math work.
No.
It leaves, again, it's this untenable fiscal situation that would seem to be, again, only getting worse regardless of who gets elected. I always like this time of the year, Eric, where all the politicians talk about, oh yes, we're going to balance the budget. We're going to, come on now. There would be a total collapse if they tried to balance. Or what do you think of this idea of an unrealized capital gains tax?
Oh yeah, that's a beauty. Yeah, that's a beauty. By the way, one of the other frustrating things is, we are conspiracy theorists, you and I, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Had we said that in one of the public media things a year ago, we would have been thrown off media, right? Just for saying it. Okay.
Right.
And the funny part about the conspiracies is all of them have proven to be true.
How about that?
And I start with the vaccines, hydroxychloroquine, Russiagate. Oh, how about Zuckerberg sending a letter to Rep. Jordan saying, yes, we were pressured by the White House to not allow these things. And like all these things we believe when we have the media, all the media has exactly the same spin on everything. Exactly. There's no room for thinking here, right? These are the words we're using.
Right.
So, and all of those conspiracy things have proven to be true.
Yeah.
It's frustrating as hell. And I guess one of them that hasn't, it has proven to be true. I think I saw Goldman Sachs just pay a fine for manipulating, I think it was palladium. Now, you and I wouldn't have known about it, but that was announced 2 days ago.
I didn't even see that.
They paid a fine it was a small fine.
Sure.
It was probably like 30 to 50 million or something.
Yeah, what'd they make? 500 million?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or how much did the clients not make that they should have made? That's the bigger issue, right? Yeah. How much are those silver owners being denied what they should have made by having their eyes and ears wide open?
Right. Or Eric, how about this one? How about how they overstate the jobs numbers every month?
Oh, God.
Only to revise them lower. I've yet to see our gains get revised back higher that they took away from us in the metals when they get crushed on the jobs day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eric,
jobs day.
And I got a couple other things I want to ask you about, but it leads me when we talk about how crazy the politicians are, and how desperate they are. I guess this comes up on my side every once in a while. Are you worried about, should things ever get fun? Not maybe so much confiscation, but like really like significant taxes, like windfall profits tax on any equity that you sell that's in the mining sector. Do you worry about things like that?
Well, you have to worry about it. The world's not fair, as we well know. We see that almost every day that we wake up. And of course, the governments run the show. They're the bigger part of the population. They're almost a bigger part of the vote now.
Yeah.
The people who work for the government or supply to the government.
Right.
So anything can happen here. I think what you have to imagine is, like, for example, me, I thought, okay, I just have some gold and silver out of the system, some out of the system. You can't get it all out because you're in the system. But that's one of the reasons that I think gold and silver are so valuable now.
Yeah.
You can take them out of there. You don't have to own the crap currency, okay, that goes down and is really worthless, quite frankly.
Mhm.
You can own gold and silver. Gold, record high, funny thing, goes up 8% a year, almost without fail, on average. 8%. Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And it's steady, and you can get it out of the system. And of course, you and I probably did speak about the book, The Great Awakening, that tells you that all your assets in the bank are not yours.
Yeah, they're not yours. Yeah.
You think you have security, you don't.
Right.
So you got to have it out of the banking system if you really want to contemplate the worst.
Yeah.
And you do have to give some possible credence to that, right? You know that. Look at some of the suggestions we're witnessing from Kamala Harris. I mean, my God, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
And
anything
can happen.
I always try to remind people too, you'll see this coming. It's not like the 30s where they just rode into town and put tacked something up on a board that said, you got to turn in your silver and your gold, or turn in your gold.
Yeah.
You'll see it coming. If they start talking about this stuff, you'll have time before it's enacted to, try to make a plan.
I don't know if you'll have much time. I really don't know. I mean, they know they probably got to do it quickly if they're going to do it, right? Catch everyone off guard.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Nobody gets to trade gold and silver anymore as of now.
Right.
Look at Nixon when they went off the gold standard. It was out of the freaking blue.
Yeah.
Boom. We're not converting dollars into gold anymore. Boom. Take that one.
To that end, another thing I wanted to ask you about is this idea of a gold-backed or asset-backed competition for the dollar. A lot of people are focusing on this BRICS meeting that's coming up in October. How likely is that? I mean, it's something we've been talking about for years, and you talk about baby steps toward this. Do you think that's even an eventuality?
I don't know if it will get embodied quickly. There's no doubt that the sentiment for it is all there, right? And those countries that are involved, I mean, they're the ones that are doing all the buying of gold and silver. India, China, the Asian countries, whether or not they officially back the currency, the fact is, I think most of them made the decision, we don't like the dollar, which is the reserve currency, and we're going to put our money in the gold.
Yeah.
And all the free democracies don't do it, but everybody else does do it, whether you're in Turkey or Venezuela or some weird country that Poland is the big buyer of gold these days.
Yep.
So yeah, I know the trend is well in place. I don't know when they might spring it on us, but it's entirely possible. I mean, we're going to have a debt crisis. We can't pay this debt back. And God forbid that interest rates back up for some strange reason.
Yeah. Well, and I saw that headline out of Poland that I think they're currently at 14% of their foreign currency in gold. And they want to take it to 20. Just imagine if that's kind of an unspoken plan by all those central banks.
Eric, Canada's a little behind it with 0.
Yeah, they got a little catching up to do. Eric, one other thing I want to ask you about, and we'll see if there's anything else on your mind, is Newfoundland. As a province, it's just, there seems like this untapped resource. Right. But even with gold charging higher, some of the stocks, they just keep. It's
been frustrating. That's one of the tremendous frustrations. Okay. And I've thought that they've got the goods, but the market doesn't believe it. There are some elements of lack of continuity because it's over wide stretches. They did drill deep and encountered gold and the formation they expected to find down there, but they didn't find quite the grades and widths that we would then know. So for example, had they come up with 20 meters of 50 grams instead of, I think the best hole was 10 meters of 15 grams. It was a good hole. Let's not kid ourselves. That's half ounce. But it wasn't as spectacular as some of the other holes that they'd get up higher in those same zones. So they still have to put it together here. But I mean, it could be just a layup if these guys hit the zone down below the same as it is above, and by the way, the stuff that's above always comes from below.
Yeah, makes sense. I saw something fly over your shoulder. What was
You
that?
see a jet? There's a jet over there.
Yeah.
Here comes another one.
Here comes another one.
We have a jet show.
God knows what's going on. I know. I saw that too. I went, what was that, like a big bug flying by?
The Russians are coming.
See, everybody should know. We don't edit this stuff. We're just rolling. It's just too old. Eric and I always joke about that. We are the two old guys in the gallery of the Muppets. So here we are, the two old guys. We're easily distracted.
Very easily. Now, what are we talking about?
So Newfoundland, is it uneconomical at this price? Is it not?
No, it's terribly economic, and everything's right there, right? I mean, it's you can go to the Tim Hortons, get a coffee, and go to the mine site. That's how close it is. Okay.
Yeah, you would
You're not in the middle of nowhere. You got a helicopter in or something. So, I think it will be developed. There will be significant production there. I think there's a lot of non-believers. There's short sellers to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to try to. I've actually hired someone to analyze the trading in newfound gold from a short perspective. Tell me who's doing what, so that I can try to figure out what the hell to do about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
what do they do you plan on kind of just holding where you are? Or are you looking to? Yeah. So
well, I'm a long-term holder in most things.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes, well, that's another sense of frustration, right? That
right.
Just nobody else goes there. You have to have other people go there, right? It can't be one guy liking it and nobody playing around. And I think that if these ETFs start going up, the GDX, the SILJ, SIL, and the money starts coming in, and I think I've seen it coming in because it takes no money to move some of these stocks now, right?
Yeah.
Some guy comes in with a bid for something. Whoa, that ever changed the dynamic quickly.
Yeah.
And that's happening.
Well, what else is on your mind, my friend, before we wrap up? As you're looking out.
You don't want to know what else is going on.
It's a good what
it's
other
bad enough already, okay.
What other conspiracy theory is going to be proven true before we speak again?
Well, one of them is I've seen some articles that our science on cancer has been wrong for 70 years.
Yeah.
Totally wrong for 70 years. And then we have to totally rework the whole thing. And you would know, and I would know that, I mean, the success rate against cancer is such a joke.
Yeah.
You know, with all the money that we spend on it. Yeah. You know, the average guy who gets cancer lasts maybe 1.2 months longer than they used to.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
After spending all of that. So anyway, that's something that I'm thinking about. And there's a guy named Ed Dowd who's on X. Yeah. He's a very good spokesperson, both about the vaccines and things like that, the incidence of cancer and how the rates of cancer deaths and incidences have gone higher. So that's something else that kind of captivates me, and that'll go in the conspiracy bin, by the way.
Just give it a few months; it won't be any longer.
And it's like Robert Kennedy. I love Robert Kennedy Jr. Okay, I mean, his attitude towards pharmaceuticals is just get rid of them.
Yeah,
get rid of them.
Yeah,
they only make money, but they don't cure anything.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, all right. Hopefully we'll speak again. Maybe we'll do like a year-end wrap up, around the holiday season.
It's coming our way.
Let's just do this. Let me hit you with a couple of quickies and we'll see how we do. And we'll review this the next time. Who do you think wins the US election?
Well, who the winner is, or who wins it?
Who's going to be installed as the next president? How's that?
Well, I think Trump will win it, but the winner could be Kamala.
Yeah, who's going to be the president-elect? Let's put it that way. By the next time we speak, who are they going to be claiming winning?
Right.
Your guess is good as mine.
Oh, by the way, I heard, and I can't confirm this, but apparently there's been some op-ed pieces in the New York Times that are not kind to Kamala. And there was something on CNN that wasn't kind to Kamala. And somebody was suggesting, okay, maybe they got the knives out already.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I'm not
makes you
close
want,
enough to it.
well, Trump would be good for ratings and be good for newspaper sales. So maybe they have an ulterior
Yeah.
motive.
Well, I like the fact that he might use Robert Kennedy. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was in charge of the CIA,
Oh my God. In that, I
or how
read
about the
that.
Department of Health?
Yeah, the CIA would be particularly fun. You
Oh
would,
my
oh my
God.
gosh. All right. How about a year-end price of gold? You got any ideas?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it could get to 3,000 by year end, and I hope that silver even has a good shot at 50 by year end. And
Okay.
I'm saying that really in response to what Michael Oliver, who I think has been very, very, very good on these prices. Okay, and he's suggesting they're at a time where they should accelerate fast here now. You
Yeah.
can see people. I can see people coming in. They're going to come in, and you see the fight going on every day in the COMEX. You just see it
Yeah.
when the price always goes down fast, but never goes up fast.
Amazing how that works.
Yeah. Why is that?
Stairs
Why are the
up and
legs down
straight
so
down.
fast?
Yeah.
And who's selling it? Well, we know who's selling it, for God's sake. The guy who's trying to protect the short position.
Right.
Someday they'll get blown out.
How about this
Hopefully
one?
soon.
A lot of folks are worried about stock market sell off or crash this fall. I got
Yeah,
the
I would be worried
S&P.
about that
I got
too.
the S&P about 5,600 right now. Where's it going to be by the end of the year?
Well, I've never been much of a believer in the stock market because I think the US is broke. And if we had to
Right.
face the problems realistically, I mean, the last thing to be thinking about is stocks.
So
Anyway, that's why I'm
5,000?
in gold and silver, right? Oh,
Right.
it could easily be less than that. I mean, we already saw it fall 10% in about a
Yeah.
week once, right? Not that
Yeah.
long ago,
Yeah.
I would remind you. So we're in a bubble. We're in about one of my favorite reads every week is the Credit Bubble Bulletin by Doug Nolan.
Hmm.
And, I mean, if we look at, we had, and it's the same thing that Michael Oliver goes to. We had zero interest rates for almost a decade. Are you kidding me? Like, what kind of a policy was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, causes all this malinvestment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And all these banks and even
And
the
the
Fed balance
leverage,
sheets that are
the
underwater.
leverage, the derivatives. Oh my God!
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All
Don't
right.
ask me
One
to
more.
make sense of it. Yeah.
Ask you one more and I'll review this when we talk in December because you'll be tired of them for a
Yeah.
while at that point. But
Yeah.
as we sit here at the end of August, what's your favorite Christmas carol?
I don't know. I don't think
Come
about
on.
Christmas. Silent Night.
Silent Night. Okay. Because by the time we speak again in December, I'm going to say a Silent Night. And you're like, oh God, I've heard that song so many times over the last few weeks. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, right. You're right. I will.
Well, my friend, thank you so much for your time. It's always so valuable to hear from you. And I hope that you're able to maintain your sanity and your frustration level in the months ahead. It's only going to get more crazy, it seems.
Yeah. It's getting a little easier with the prices reacting the way they are. So that's not too bad.
Well, that's true. That's true. And again, for all the stuff we've discussed, we sit here and talk about, confiscation and all these things that people worry about. And you mentioned holding some of your metal,
Yeah.
whether it's offshore or out of your house or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody should make sure they always keep in mind Sprott Money for this kind of thing. They will store it for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys store it in very safe, secure locations, audited, all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just buying metal. They'll store it for you too. Again, visit out their social media on Instagram, get signed up for the giveaway. But if anything, you've probably been watching this on YouTube or some other platform, give them a like and maybe a subscribe. That may seem like a very small thing to do, but it really does help. Those algos that we all hold in such low regard, they read those kind of things. So again, just be sure to thank Sprott Money for putting this content out. Eric, my old friend, it's almost football season. That should have been another question. What will the record of the Buffalo Bills be by the next time we speak?
That's a very good question. They haven't done well in the preseason. I think they scored one touchdown.
Oh, God. You need to have a private meeting with Josh Allen, see if you can get him to be a spokesman for gold and silver. Well, anyway, we'll see how that goes as well. I look forward to speaking to you again in a few months.
Okay, Craig, all the best. Thank you.
And from all of us at Sprott Money, sprottmoney.com. Thanks for watching. Soon it's going to be September. We'll have a full month of information coming at you then. So be sure to keep an eye on this channel. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you again next month.